Hey, welcome back. We're going to talk about repairs now and analyzing repairs specifically. So why do repairs matter? Well, the two most critical numbers you need to determine how much you can pay for a property, which we discussed in the last lesson, are the ARV, the after repaired value, the estimated market value, and the amount of repairs needed for that property. Needed to get it to the ARV, needed to get it to a point to where it doesn't need any repairs. The repair cost is the missing piece between the as-is value and the after repaired value. Of course, one other missing piece there is your amount of profit, right? Unless you can accurately estimate the after repaired value and the repairs needed, you're likely either offer too little and miss out on deals, or offer too much and not be able to make a profit, or even worse, lose money on a deal, which you don't ever want to happen. By the way, even if you're only wholesaling deals and not actually rehabbing yourself, if you're wholesaling or assigning, you still need to understand the cost of the rehab. Why is that? If you're not going to rehab, why do you need to know the cost? Well, you're most likely selling to a rehabber or to a landlord, right? These are your customers. You need to know how the deal looks from their perspective if you want to sell to them. Certainly if you want to sell to them more than one time. If you're marketing deals that have an unrealistic number, you'll destroy your reputation in the market and nobody will want to work with you. I've seen it happen many times. Once you get good at estimating repairs, it'll be like riding a bike, quite frankly. It gets easy. Some repair estimate tips. So, I've got good news for you. You don't actually need to know how to do any of the repairs yourself. If you're handy and you do know how to repair things, that's great. It'll come in handy, but it is not necessary. I've rehabbed hundreds of houses, and I literally have never done any of the work. Not even a single nail, never picked up a paintbrush myself. Here's why that's important. What's really important is that you need to know the cost of how to estimate the repairs that it's going to cost a rehab because somebody else is going to do it. You don't have to do it yourself. Your time is better spent doing one of two things. Finding more deals, the hardest part of this business and the most important part, or God forbid, enjoying your life more. That's why you're doing this in the first place, right? You should not be doing repairs yourself. So let's talk about how to estimate repairs. Over many years, we have perfected and simplified a way to quickly analyze the repairs needed on a property. In fact, in 10 minutes or less, and we're going to share that with you. Note that the basis of how we evaluate repairs is that if in doubt whether something is needed, we most often assume that we need to throw money at it, that we're going to have to spend money on it to address it. For example, I know nothing about heating and AC systems, but I know approximately what it'll cost me if I have to replace or repair a system. If the seller tells me that the heating and AC system is working fine, but I can tell it's rattling and looks rough, like it's near the end of its useful life, I just make the assumption that I'm going to replace it. Why is that? If they say it's working fine, because I might believe them, but my customer, if I rehab the house and sell it, or a wholesale buyer that I'm selling it to, may see it differently than me. And if I don't estimate the cost for that, that might come out of my profit, or I might be able to sell the house at all. So note that I don't take the time to hire a bunch of experts on HVAC systems, plumbing, electrical. I'm just using my judgment on the spot in seconds as to what will need to be done. And I'm betting on a lot of things do need to be done if in doubt. I've literally looked at thousands of houses and evaluated repairs. It's rare at this point that we miss anything major, but that comes with experience and time. Again, it's important to be conservative in your approach. Not so conservative that you miss out on deals, but conservative enough that you have the opportunity to make a respectable profit and you don't find yourself in a pickle. You minimize your risk of ever taking a loss on deals. Now, what I'm going to share with you next is what we call the repair analysis sheet. Guys, for many years, for a long time, I have never given this away for free before, but I'm sharing it with you. You can get a copy of this. You can use it to practice while we're going through the lesson plan here, or you can print more copies for yourself. It's all inside of this guide here in the Evaluating Repairs lesson this is a super valuable tool. Hey guys, just a quick reminder that you can get access to all 10 of the training videos in this masterclass that we call the Ultimate Get Started in Real Estate Investing Guide and Program, as well as this awesome supplemental guide with incredibly valuable copies of our contracts, scripts, checklists, and many more by visiting us at flipnerd.com/free training. That's flipnerd.com/free-training. 2 separate words there. You'll get immediate access to all 10 lessons of this powerful masterclass. I know you're watching it on YouTube right now, but that's how you get all of our downloadable checklists and all sorts of other information. You'll get immediate access to all 10 of our lessons of this powerful masterclass. You'll get this free resource guide, and we'll share some other powerful content with you as well. So going over to flipnerd.com/free training, that's free-training now to get registered. We use this tool on every house we look at. We have for a long, long time. We've tried some other ways, built some apps and some technology that honestly is a little clumsy and just kind of gets in the way when we're talking to sellers. So a part of this masterclass, we're sharing this super powerful worksheet with you to allow you to determine the repairs needed on a property in 10 minutes or less. We call it the Repair Analysis Worksheet, and again, it's in your free guide. If you haven't downloaded it yet, make sure you download it. There's a link right down below. It's super easy to use, and I'd like to walk you through how to use it here a little bit now. So here is what the full version looks like. I'm going to pull it up on the screen here, and I'm going to kind of walk through this with you as we go here. So in the top section, you actually plug in your comps here, your subject property and your comps. In the last lesson, we talked about evaluating market values, and this is where you'll actually plug that in. So these 2 lessons are kind of coming together a little bit here. Put your comps in there to evaluate the market value, and then the repairs are down below. As you'll see, we start here with the foundation. So in the top section, you can plug in the comps you're using for the property, and we're going to move in. So we go into the next section of the worksheet. We talk about foundation repairs needed. Now, this is something that's common in some states. It's unique to really not a lot of markets around the country. So if you don't have issues with foundations, you can skip over this. They're a significant issue sometimes here in the North Texas markets and Florida markets where they have sinkholes and other things. But you can literally estimate the repairs needed, mostly off of the square footage of a property, which, as we discussed in the last section, you can find in your county or city tax records. From there, you'll see that you can estimate the cost of replacing a roof, paint and flooring, and even most of the plumbing updates needed within just a couple of minutes. You're either basing the cost of these estimates on the square footage, or in some instances based on the units needed in terms of number of light fixtures and other things like that. In the next section, you can estimate the cost of electrical repairs, again based off of units, number of fans, number of light fixtures you need, as well as switches and outlets. Now, it's a pretty common situation that you go in and you evaluate a house and you walk through all the bedrooms and then you say, oh man, I forgot to count the number of switches or the number of lights or fans. Don't overcomplicate this. Sometimes you can just make estimates based off of the number of rooms in the house. For example, a 3-bedroom house that has ceiling fans in the bedrooms probably has 4 fans. 1 in each bedroom, 1 in the main living room. If there's 2 living areas, maybe it's 5. Okay. Each room may have 8 to 10 switches and outlets on average. Next, you can estimate the kitchen appliances, the cost of replacing the HVAC system based on the size of the property, and the cost of the doors and the windows. You can estimate all of those things here based on square footage in some instances, or based on the number of doors needed, for example. In the last section here, you can estimate things like trim, cabinets, pest control, permits, landscaping, and more. At this point, you'll simply total up each section to come up with your grand total estimate cost for your property. Now, please note that there might be a few local or regional things missing from this worksheet, things such as heating oil tanks used in the Northeast, sinkholes in some Florida markets, other remediation things that we don't have here. You can simply add these to your total here. On purpose, we've tried to keep this as simple as possible, down to just 1 page to make it easy. What I would advise you to do is, just like in the last lesson, you should go out and look at some properties and evaluate this. Maybe even use your own personal house if it needs some repairs. What it would cost if you painted and put new flooring in, to give you an idea of what the cost would be. Please also note that costs are going to differ a little bit around the country in different markets. Markets where you have a high labor cost. Higher cost of living markets tend to have higher prices. So one way to fix that on the sheet is to effectively come up with your total and maybe add 10 or 20% to the total to offset it, to kind of adjust for those price differences. But please also note that if there's something unique that you plan to do, such as adding square footage, adding a garage, or something like that, we can't fit this all on one sheet. Everything you could possibly ever do, removing a shed, things like that, just add it down to the bottom. So this should cover about 95% of the houses that you come across, especially if you're just doing basic repairs and updates instead of adding things on, and it'll get you there. Use this as a crutch to get the confidence you need to quickly evaluate repairs. Honestly, once you've done this a few times, you'll be able to do it just like us in 10 minutes or less and get very confident. Now, I should mention, this is a repair analysis that you use to estimate the repairs for yourself for the purpose of making an offer. You'll never want to share this estimate with your contractors and after you bought a house and say, here's my budget. You should always get them to give you their estimate on cost to do the work. They, of course, estimate the cost very differently than this, but I think you'll see in total the cost of the project will often come pretty close to your conservative estimate here. Sometimes you'll find that you overestimated in one area, but it made up for it in another area that you didn't estimate enough. So I hope you see how powerful of a tool it is. I hope it helps you estimate the cost for the properties you're looking at quickly. I know it will. Honestly, we've taught a lot of people how to use this. And again, make sure you get it in your guide. It's in the section on estimating values. Hope you got a lot out of this lesson. I'll see you in the next one. Hey everybody, just a reminder, thanks for watching this incredibly powerful masterclass lesson. I hope you got a lot out of it. Just a reminder that you can get access to all 10 of the training videos in this masterclass that we call the Ultimate Get Started in Real Estate Investing Training Program and Guide. You can get this supplemental guide, which is full of valuable copies of our contracts, checklists, the scripts we use when we talk to sellers, and so much more. Quite frankly, we've never given away all this free content before, so it's super powerful. To get access to all of this, you simply need to go to flipnerd.com/free training, and that's flipnerd.com/free-training to get access to everything. It's completely free, but we can't give you downloads on YouTube. You have to go over to our site to get them. You'll get immediate access, again, to all 10 lessons of this powerful masterclass. You'll get this free resource guide, and we'll share some other powerful, awesome content with you as well. So go on over to flipnerd.com/free-training now. You can register. See you on the other side.